You know, and Boaz said, well, don't worry, Naomi. We'll let Ruth stand in your place where there Ruth was, and she'd go out there. You know, and Boaz, you know, he looked at her and he told the guy, he said, keep your hands off of Ruth. Keep your mouth off of Ruth, because something about her, I don't know, is special. But it was in God's plan, Brother Ricky. And she went out there and she gleaned the fields and stuff. And as the story goes, you know, Boaz fell in love with Ruth. They got married. They had a son named Obed. Obed had a son named Jesse. Jesse had a son named David. And that brings me on to the rest of my story over here in 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 42 through 45. It said, when the Philistines looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of a fair countenance. And the Philistines said unto David, am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? And Philistines cursed David by his gods. And the Philistines said to David, come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air and to the beasts of the field. You know, and as they go on over there, you know, David was a ruddy lad. And yes, he just looked like something not very special. But you know something? God knew exactly that there would be a day coming that the Philistines would have a champion. God knew that this champion would stand against his people. And for 40 days, you know, Goliath would come out there before the Israelites, Brother Justin. 40 days he come out there and he defied God. He said, if any of you be stout enough, come on and fight me. I'll slay you just like I have many times before. I'll do to you like I've always done to the ones that come before me, because I am a champion. But little did he know, Brother Jimmy, that God had sent a champion. Little did he know that here come David. Here come David. He come over there. Jesse said, David, you know you're the youngest. David, you just a little old lad. There ain't much to you. I bet you don't weigh 100 pounds. Go over yonder and here's some food. Take to your brothers. Go over there that they might have strength to fight. They might have strength to endure. And along come David. He come bebopping over there, Brother Justin. Just a young lad. Just a little ruddy lad. And he come over there. And here come old Goliath. And he went to going through his speech. And David said, hey, brother, what did he say? What did he say? I don't understand this. Did he just defy my God? Did he just say what I thought he said? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine? What does he think he's doing? You know, I'll tell you what, I'll fight him right now. But you know something, everybody said, David, get over there. You know, settle down. Son, you don't know what you're talking about. But David said, yes, I do. Me and my God come out on top. Yes, and David, he had 5 little stones. He went over there and he got a sling. Yes, and you know, it looked like there was still Goliath. You know, he had all of his stuff. Over in 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 5 and 7 says, and he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And in 17 of 1 Samuel, verse 7 says, and the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. There we had a giant, we had a champion. You know something, in Webster's dictionary it says a champion is something or someone that's never been defeated. Brother Ricky, he never been defeated. He was a champion. But you know, there he stood. Brother Justin, you know, guys, he stood, you know, and he was defying, you know, the armies of Israel. But where the mistake he made is when he defied our God. Amen. Whenever he defied God, he was on a crash course going down the wrong way, down a one-way street. But there stood David, you know, and looking at him. When the world looked at him, he said, well, what in the world is that little skinny boy going to do? But you know something? There he stood. God had a helmet of salvation upon his head. He had a breastplate of righteousness on his chest. He had a shield of faith in his hand. And he had the Word of God. The Word of God cut like I did back when I was over there and the lion got the lamb. I'm going to slew him and take the lamb back. I'm going to do just like the bear come out of the woods to destroy my flock. I'm going to take the lamb back and I'm going to kill the bear. You know something this said as he went out through there, David? You know something said he went a-running. He went a-running. You know, and he took he put that stone in that sling. And he went to taking that sling, and he went to doing like this right here. And he said, there ain't no doubt in my mind. He said, you know, you come against me with a spear and a sword. I'll come against you in the name of the Lord. And he gave that sling, and he gave it a sling. You know, old Goliath, everything from the top of his head to the soles of his feet. There wasn't any place that was open except one place. And it was right there. And when they give that thing a sling, you know, and he just let her rip. When he did, that stone hit that giant, it go whap. And that giant fell to his death. But when he did, you know, brothers, he went over and he took the same sword that Goliath said that he was going to destroy him with, and he cut his head off. Right. There's no doubt in my mind, boys, that the Lord said, Naomi, because she'd done been on to go on to heaven, say, come over here, I want to show you something. I want to show you something about days gone by. And as Naomi come over there, she said, hey, Lord, that looks like Obed. I said, no. I said, that ain't Obed. I said, that's David. That's Jesse's boy. That's Obed's grandson. That's Ruth and Boaz's great-grandson. Naomi, when you was going through your hardest battle, when you was fighting one of your hardest tests, you thought that I had left you. You thought that I had abandoned you, but little did you know that you was in God's plan. Little did you know that I know there's going to be a chance to come down the road. Little did you know that I had to have it work out like this to glorify me. You know something, brothers? Like he's talking about over there in the sand. You know, I was dreaming last night and I woke up and I was thinking about times gone by, and I was thinking about things, you know, going on. You know, and I thought about the little lad over there, and he was going along and there was a footprints in the sand. You know, a lot of time you don't realize what's going on, but sometimes when you think you're all alone, sometimes when you think that there ain't nothing else you can do, the Lord is toting you. The Lord is doing his part, my friend. Amen. The Word of God said he'd never leave us or forsake us. Lord, yeah. He said that if you would stand with me, I'll stand with you. And sometimes, my friend, you can't have pure gold unless you let it go through the fire. It's got to go through the fire in order for it to be pure gold. And my friend, my God gave his life. He gave his life for me and you. He done everything that he could do to give you an opportunity to be a child of God. The Word of God says that he wants no one to perish, but everyone have everlasting life. And you know something, when the showdown comes, it don't make no difference what it looks like. It might look like that you're going to lose. It might look like that everything you've done is in vain. But my friend, when the showdown comes, you know something, you can have thousands and thousands against you, but you and God is a majority. Because I guarantee you that if you'll stand, he'll stand with you. You know something? Amen. I was thinking about Brother Ricky here a while back. You know, I just quit going to church, and it seemed like, you know, everything that I've done was falling apart. But you know something? The Lord come to me and he said, well, Ronnie, in a spirit, he said, you know, he said, I'm going to give you an illustration. The illustration was, if, you know, I love the pastor and I love my church, and y'all know that. You know, if the pastor was down there in Nashville and there was a gang, 20 gang members, and they was going to kill him, you know, and the phone rang and he said, well, he said, I'm down here by myself and I'm going to die. And it wasn't going to make any difference